It happened on April 25, 1920. Representatives of the great powers who triumphed in World War I met in the Italian town of San Remo to divide the Middle East lands they conquered. 100 years later, the leaders of the great powers who came to San Remo are long gone. But their decisions made history and transformed the Middle East. For the first time in nearly 2,000 years, they called for the establishment of a Jewish homeland in an area called Palestine. Before its defeat in World War I, the 400-year Ottoman Empire spread throughout the Middle East. In San Remo, England, France, Italy, and Japan, along with the United States as an observer, divided the empire into three mandates: Iraq, Syria, and Palestine. France would oversee Syria, while Iraq and Palestine fell under Great Britain. The resolution also included the Balfour Declaration, written by England's Lord Balfour in 1917, which called for the establishment in Palestine of a national home for the Jewish people. One English diplomat, Lord Curzon, called it Israel's Magna Carta. Zionist leader Chaim Weizmann considered it so important, he said the modern state of Israel was born on the 25th of April, 1920, in San Remo. It was adopted by the League of Nations and signed by 51 countries. Exclusive legal and political rights in Palestine went to the Jews, while those rights in the rest of the Middle East went to the Arabs.
As it shows, in fact, the creation of a Jewish national home was widely backed by the international community way back then.
Former Israeli ambassador to the UN, Dori Gold, told CBN News the history of San Remo 100 years ago has largely been forgotten.
That's part of Israel's problem. Why is it that it's fighting for its legitimacy all the time? It's because the international treaties and agreements on which the state of Israel is based have been forgotten. Our role is to remind the international community what are Israel's legal rights, what is the basis for the legitimacy of the modern Jewish state. And for that, San Remo is pivotal.
Gold says Israel's adversaries are trying to rob Israel of its right to exist by rewriting history.
I think now people will have to learn this history properly and not allow some professor or some media figure to distort what went on 100 years ago. 100 years ago, it was clear as day that the restoration of a Jewish national home was supported by the majority of countries in the world.
Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.